Martin from the Philippines. We're here in Real Talk Lifeline. So, welcome to Podcast Meditations, and we are here on Ep.3 of Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. So, join me as I meditate on the best lessons and the lines that hit me and resonated with me, and also watch till the end to see the challenge. All right, so let's get to it. Let me share my screen for those guys on video and let me go through the best lessons, the lines that hit me as I meditate. So, Can't Hurt Me. This is chapter 3, The Impossible Task. First line that hit me: 4 years later, the guy who was so energized by opportunity that he was excited to clean latrines was gone, and I didn't feel anything at all. I was numb, numb to my life, miserable in my marriage, and I'd accepted that reality. Just another zombie selling his time on earth, going through the motions. So, this one, from cleaning toilets and feeling so energized and alive in life to feeling numb. Those who can relate, watching this live or the replay, comment hashtag relate down below if ever you've gone through this in your life. Next line: one where failure was inevitable because my unchecked fear was unleashing something I couldn't control: the quitting mind. So here we're getting hints again to the root causes of what's causing unhappiness, numbness, and we'll get to solutions. Don't worry, moving forward. These days, you tell me to run longer and harder than everyone else. Just get a fair shake. I'd say, Roger that, and keep moving. But back then, I was still half baked. Physically, I was strong, but I was not even close to mastering my mind. On paper, I didn't quit, but I knew the truth. So, for those who can resonate again with that, sometimes people on the outside, it looks all okay, but internally, our own code of honor, our integrity, we actually did give up or quit, and only you can tell deep down inside. So, what did David Goggins do? I grew a burly mustache and was intimidating to everyone who saw me. But inside, I knew I was a pussy, and that's a haunting feeling. Nobody would have believed how numb and afraid I was back then because I looked like a beast that no one would dare fuck with. But my mind wasn't right, and my soul was weighed down by too much trauma and failure. I had every excuse in the world to be a loser and used them all. So, what happened? What changed for him? So, one day the TV was on, and then he heard this: Navy SEALs, toughest the world. I was literally on the edge of my seat. They were swollen, chafed, sleep deprived, and dead on their feet, and I was jealous of them. The longer I watched, the more certain I became that there were answers buried in all that suffering, answers that I needed. The SEALs were everything I wasn't. They were about dignity and the type of excellence that came from bathing in the fire, getting beat the fuck down, and going back for more again and again. I was at the bottom of the barrel of life, pooling in the dregs, but for the first time in way too long, I was awake. It became an obsession I couldn't shake. Next line. What the fuck? I mean, seriously, what the fucking fuck? When was enough truly going to be enough? Was I willing to let my sorry present become a fucked up future? How much longer would I wait? How many more years would I burn, wondering if there was some greater purpose out there waiting for me? I knew right then that if I didn't make a stand and start walking the path of most resistance, I would end up in this mental hell forever. So I mark some emojis here, like a cockroach, a raccoon. So when you read the book, in this part in chapter 3, so he was an exterminator, pest control. And one day, the tipping point was he hit the mother lode while exterminating. Just another night, the nest, like the hive of all the roaches, came out, fell on him. It was disgusting. And then he went out to the dumpster, and a raccoon attacked him. So he was like at his lowest point, and then this happened. Hence the line. It was a life devoid of any drive or passion. But I knew if I continued to surrender to my fear and my feelings of inadequacy, I would be allowing them to dictate my future forever. My only other choice was to try to find the power in the emotions that had laid me low, harness and use them to empower me to rise up, which is exactly what I did. So the next lines over here, in my second sitting of reading this chapter, I had to accept the very real possibility that I might die, because this time I wouldn't quit, no matter how fast my heart raced and no matter how much pain I was in. So to reach that level of resolve, I was betting everything I had on myself with no guarantee. I ditched my running shoes and ordered a pair of Bates lights, the same boots SEAL candidates wear in buds, and I started running in those. So this time, just for context, David Goggins was 297 pounds, and he had to lose like 100 pounds just to get fit enough to join the Navy SEALs. So he had to drop from 297, I believe, to like 181 pounds, something like that. For me, the only way to make it through that was to feed off my depression. I had to flip it and convince myself that all that self doubt and anxiety was confirmation that I was no longer living an aimless life. My task may turn out to be impossible, but at least I was back on a motherfucking mission. If I failed, my dream would die and I'd be floating without purpose again. So, as David Goggins set out on this path, he said, but it wasn't all happy days. My wife had given me an implied ultimatum, and now I had a decision to make: abandon the opportunity I'd worked so hard for and stay married, or get divorced and go try to become a SEAL. In the end, it was about who I was and who I wanted to be. I was a prisoner in my own mind, and this opportunity was my only chance to break free. Last line that hit me that I journaled: the hypothermic water washed over me. The pain was excruciating, and I fucking loved it. After a few minutes, I got out and started running. So that last line, David Goggins went in very cold water, in a lake that was almost frozen. And then the crazy part was when you get out and the cold wind is on you, he even started running. So let me stop sharing, go back to you guys, and let's go to challenge number 3, because this is the third chapter of Can't Hurt Me. Every chapter has a challenge. So in this third episode, challenge number 3: the first step on the journey toward a calloused mind is stepping outside of your comfort zone on a regular basis. Dig out your journal again and write down all the things you don't like to do or that make you uncomfortable, especially those things you know are good for you. Now go do one of them. and do it again. In the coming pages, I'll be asking you to mirror what you just read to some degree. But there is no need for you to find your own impossible task and achieve it on the fast track. This is not about changing your life instantly. It's about moving the needle bit by bit and making those changes sustainable. That means digging down to the micro level and doing something that sucks every day. Even if it's as simple as making your bed, doing the dishes, ironing your clothes, or getting up before dawn and running 2 miles each day. Once that becomes comfortable, take it to 5 and then 10 miles. If you already do all those things, find something you aren't doing. We all have areas in our lives we either ignore or can improve upon. Find yours. We often choose to focus on our strengths rather than our weaknesses. Use this time to make your weaknesses your strengths. Doing things, even small things that make you uncomfortable, will help make you strong. The more often you get uncomfortable, the stronger you'll become. And soon you'll develop a more productive, can do dialogue with yourself in stressful situations. Take a photo or video of yourself in the discomfort zone. Post it on social media describing what you're doing and why. And don't forget to include the hashtags hashtag discomfort zone, hashtag path of most resistance, hashtag can't hurt me, hashtag impossible task. So, all of you out there, I challenge you also to show me your impossible task, turning your weakness into a strength. Now, let me lead by example over here. So, the hardest thing about doing these podcast meditations is doing the challenge myself. So, to be fair, let me share and end this podcast meditation with this. So, I will share this and I'm going to go full screen as we end this session with my challenge in the discomfort zone.
It's all on you. It's all on you. The self part is what's big. I'm gonna fucking make myself good enough. I'm driven. I'm obsessed. I want to prove people wrong. I'm a warrior. A warrior is a motherfucker who says, hey, I'm here again today. I'm here again tomorrow. I'm gonna be here the next day. It's a person that puts no fucking limit on what's possible. It's a brutal journey every fucking day. And self-discipline is everything. And that's all it's about, yourself. It's fucking me against me, period. The fucking mind is what you created.
Just me alone in my thoughts. I train alone. I prepare alone. I get after it alone.
You're gonna have to fucking suffer, man. It's how you get somewhere in life. Motivation is crap. It's shit. It comes and go as how you feel. Fuck that shit, man. Fuck that shit.